do the right thing even when nobody's watching. That was a lesson that I learned while serving in the Navy and the Army. To have integrity with yourself, of knowing when you screw up and knowing when you did right. And to have the courage to do the right thing even when nobody's watching. Today I want to talk to you about how after 7 years I lost my job for exposing criminal activity and criminals within the company. This video is being long due for the last 6 years. Today's actually the anniversary, the 6-year anniversary of everything that went down. Even the wind stopped when I said that. I suggest you grab your fancy water bottles, your cup of coffee, your cup of tea, your cigarettes or your joints, whatever you're into it. I don't know how long this one is going to be, but I can tell you that this actually exposes part of the problem with corporate America. And to be honest with you, I'm very uncomfortable making this video. But like I said, this has been a long awakening and a long time to actually face this. And it's already been 6 years. So I'm just gonna talk about my heart. And whatever repercussions come out of this, I'm okay with it. After retiring from the military, after my accident in 2013, I was asked where to move back to. And I said, let's go back to Vegas. I moved back to Vegas. The Army sent me back. Mind you, I just started walking again. My disabilities were still being treated. I was very, I like to say it, on balance, because everything was still very surreal for me. It still is, but back then, I didn't understand anything. So keep mindful of that. I'm still at that time. At that time I was suffering from seizures, panic attacks that I didn't know what a panic attack was at that time. And migraines that can last up to 2-3 months. And it's not 2-3 months at home laying down in bed in a dark room. It's usually 2-3 months in the hospital. Call it my morphine vacations. Horrible when you get out of it. So I went back to a job that I used to do very well, and it was working in the casinos. Duh, it's Vegas after all, right? So back that time, before joining the Army, I already was a pit boss, I already been a dealer, I already been a supervisor, I've been assistant manager at that time. So I did a lot after the Navy before I went to the Army. So when I applied for a job in the casino, which I'm not gonna mention the name, but we're gonna call it Casino C. So I applied at the C casino, without even knowing the casino at all, because when I left Vegas, that casino was not even built. So yeah, it's one of the new casinos. And I applied for a dealer position, like a table games dealer. I got called to do an interview and to show up at the casino. So I went, got in the casino, did my interview, and then like 3 or 4 days later, they called me that I didn't get the position for dealer. So I was a little bummed, but the person paused on the phone and said, but we would like to offer you the position of supervisor, table game supervisor. Of course, it blew my mind. I'm like, wow, thank you, God. I just left the army and now I'm back and I landed a good job, like a really good job. So I started working there. I think like for the first year and 3 months, the job was on call, meaning that I will work maybe 1 day a week, maybe 2 if I was lucky. So you can only imagine, try to pay an apartment with the check that you have and have left maybe $50, $75, maybe $100 to go to the grocery store and buy some eggs, ham, and cheese, because I don't eat cup of noodles or ramen or none of that stuff. So ham, cheese, and eggs and milk. That's the basics for me. And some chicken. And I lived like that for like a good year and 3 months, until I got promoted to full-time. Thing is, I got promoted to full-time, but the full-time didn't start until like almost close to 2-year mark. So I was struggling. Besides, I was still getting used to the civilian life. So it was like, you know, I at that point, I kind of miss more being in Afghanistan, even if I'm getting shot at. But that's how my brain felt. And to be honest, it still feels like that. I'd rather be fighting a war than be dealing with the normal, everyday things. And I know that sounds like a horrible thing to say, like for some of you that are not a veteran and don't understand that. Yeah, it sounds drastic, but it's what I know. It's what I'm good at. I'm not good at making even videos at this point. I'm really good at what I do, what I was trained for. I'm trying to retrain myself right now to be a better person and try to have a normal life. Anyhow, before we just go into an emotional roller coaster, I work in this company at the Casino C for almost 7 years. Almost 7 years. And I did it every day with pride. And you better believe that when I got full-time, oh boy, that paycheck was nice. Because not long after I got full-time, I think within 7 months or 8 months, I got promoted to pit manager or assistant pit manager, shift manager, whatever you call it. I still have bosses over me. I like a lot of them, but my salary went back up. It felt good to change from a camouflage uniform and headgear and guns to have a nice suit, a tie, and a pen. It felt great. It felt great because the last time I wore a suit, that's when I had duty of the White House for President Obama. And that's how it was, in a suit with a tie, and nobody knows that you're carrying a gun. But that was a great experience. That's another story for another time. But yeah, I did that kind of job. So I'm not a shitbag. I'm sorry, but there's not other beautiful words to say the truth. I'm not a shitbag. Like, even my whole profile has been impeccable. My driving records are impeccable, right? Because I used to hold a secret clearance. I really couldn't fuck up at work. I couldn't go to a bar and get smashed until I hit the ground. I couldn't. And I still don't. Because it's what I know. So do the right thing, even when nobody's watching. Keep that in mind. There's a reason why I keep saying that phrase. So I worked for this company for a good 7 years. Paychecks are really good. People are hectic, because remind you, every day you're going to solve at least 10 to 15 problems, because everybody's gambling real money, drinking. A lot of people come with alcohol problems. You don't know them. You don't see them until it happens. Then if they're losing money and they're getting drunk, or they even did drugs, you got no idea what nuclear bomb you have in front of you. And there's other customers that you got to keep safe, including your employees. So it's a very stressful job. To me, honestly, I gotta say that, and I'm not trying to blow my own toot, but I was really good at it. And I don't think it's because I knew exactly what I was doing. I think it was the fact that I got so used to be in a high stressful level job 24/7, no vacation time. Yeah, when you're on vacation time, it's cool, but I had 2 or 3 of my vacation cut short because they needed me someplace else. So you're always on call. That's the military life. And this, like, even though it's chaotic, it was only for 8 hours a day. Once I go home, who gives a shit? You know? And getting paid way more than the military, thumbs up. And one person is the one that I want to say it was my guardian angel. That person just got promoted to surveillance, to the cameras. And turns out to be that person, I used to be his boss in Connecticut, in the casino in Connecticut. And we worked together in Puerto Rico, in the same casino too. I didn't even know he was working in that casino, because nobody needs to know them. It's surveillance. They're in the cameras. Nobody talks to them. Nobody speaks to them. You don't even know who they are. That person gives me a phone call when I'm in the other side of the casino in one pit. I answer the phone call, and he says, "Gabi, I love you, bro. but you gotta watch your back. And he says, they're logging in and you're gonna take the blame. And then he hung up. And I started wondering what the hell that meant. Because this is a pit that is completely closed. I was just walking to getting some paperwork. Nobody's in this pit. No dealers. All the tables are closed. Just that one phone call. Like if they were watching me to go to that pit and tell me that. Or they were waiting for me to be alone and call me to tell me that. After that phone call, I want to say I worked for maybe another year or so. Always watching over my back, but I was not doing anything wrong, so. But I was more conscious about who used my computer when I was on break or anything like that. 2020 hits. Boom, the pandemic. The crazy year where everybody lost their mind and a lot of people lost family members and we all lost sense of humor, even though we were trying to find it through TikTok and social media. We became entertainers just to cope with the whole entire thing of it was better to watch TikTok and YouTube and binge watch Netflix instead of turning the TV and looking at a map red that it keeps spreading and spreading, and that's just telling you how many people are dying. So, yeah, that year. That year, we all got laid off, obviously. Casinos closed, something that we have never seen here in Vegas. Well, in Vegas. I'm not in Vegas right now, thank God. But eventually I have to go back. That's why I feel very nervous about this video. After I came back and they called us back after the layoff in the 2020, I worked for another week and a half. And then I was escorted out, took my badge, and I was suspended under investigation. Mind you, 20 minutes before that happened, I was on break with another lady. She's a dealer. We were out downstairs in the smoking room. And she's like, I love working with you. It's like, you're so fair. You're so down to earth. It's like, you don't act like the rest. And I looked at her and I just gave her a hug. And I told her, I don't know why, but I have a feeling that this is our last hug. When I went back upstairs, that's when it went down. Escorted out, suspended under investigation, and there's nothing I know about it. They're saying that it's probably my FMLA or whatever now. Mind you, I have submitted the FMLA every time they ask me for the paperwork. I don't even have to lie. I just give it to my doctor. My doctor sends them to them. No big deal. I'm a disabled veteran. What else you want me to say? I'm broken. Huh? I'm a broken bat. Weeks go by. I keep calling. I'm like, hey, can I go back to work? 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 And then they told me that I had to come and pick up my severance check of $14. $14.56. And that they decided to let me go and not press charges. Charges of what? What charges? What criminal charges are you possibly talking about? Remember, we're still in 2020. They were blaming me for over $400,000. And they were not pressing charges. $400,000. If I had that money, I'm pretty sure I'll be drinking a better water than this. There's two things for sure about me. I don't steal and I don't cheat. But if there's one thing that ticks me off besides being late anywhere that I go, which I'm never late, by the way, is a liar. And why do I hate lies so much? Because my job in the military depended on lies in order for me to survive or get out of the country. That's all I'm going to say. So I hate them. I hate lying to even my parents about where I was. I hate lies. But to be lied and blamed, even if it's $5, yeah, I'll give you the $5, but believe me, I didn't take the $5. But $400,000 I don't have in my bank account to throw back at them and take the blame, because guess what? I didn't take that money. So I mentioned 2020. And I'm sorry that this is taking so long, but everything is a puzzle over here. Everything's a pattern. I was so depressed, heartbroken, because I really love my job. I really enjoy my job. I really enjoy entertaining people, getting to know people from different parts of the world, talking to them, becoming part of their vacation highlight. And it's not because I was super like a jester, no. I was genuine. I've always been humble. I don't know what else to be. This is how I know to be. But a thief? Nah. Nope. I'm sorry. So after I end up in that depression, I found my first calling. That first calling was that I could not move forward with nothing else in my life until I proved my name wrong. I had to clear my name. I had to. So I submitted every single paper that I happened to have access to and I had in my power. And all these papers and all these documents throughout the whole entire lifetime that I've been in that casino. It was a big retaliation case. But again, we're talking about Las Vegas. And this is when I say the corporate America problem. Just because the movies of the mob were back in the day doesn't mean that we have a new modern mob running Las Vegas. So everything got dropped on me. Again, like I'm the liar, like I'm the thief. They're like, let it go. This is not even the casino. This is now the state. I'm not even going to say what department. But it was telling me that I needed to let go because they were not pressing charges. And it was not about that. It's about when I'm innocent, there's nothing you can do to prove me wrong. Nothing. You can't stop me. I will find the way. And I did. I came out to all the records, all the logins that I have printed after that phone call, and all the areas that I have no access to that my computer was logged in. And I helped them put a case together. And I let them have it. Because 3 years later, 14 people got arrested in that casino. And it was way more over $400,000 because they were doing this for at least 8 years, 9 years. I was innocent. Even though I never went to court, nobody pressed charges, I was innocent. And I'll be damned if somebody's gonna say that I stole anything from anybody. Because I don't. I've been homeless to not ask for help. I have walked for miles and miles and miles and miles to not ask for a ride. Why would I steal? To get a car that I don't have? To buy a huge house that I don't have neither? Because this is rented. What can I afford right now? I'm blessed for that. Because this house should not pay what it pays. I say this is the blessing for the last 2 years that I have blessed to live on it. And I moved over here because there was a lot of people that were not happy with me in Las Vegas. Because I exposed them. Thing is, you would think that I would get my job back, huh? Oh, funny Cheerio. No, I didn't. I didn't. I still haven't. I think it's a blessing. I think it's a blessing. Because you know what? They were so smart that the casino sold while that was going on, and they was taken over by another big company. So that big company has nothing to do with me, and they don't owe me my job back. I can possibly apply again. But is that gonna be a trigger for me? I worked so hard from the bottom up to be accused for stealing money. Why would I steal money when I'm making really good money? It makes no sense. I'm not a politician. See, my mouth gets me in trouble. A lot of you might think that my mouth is very inspiring, my words, but careful what you wish for. It can get out of hand. I feel like sometimes the thoughts in my brain, they don't have to process to come to my mouth. I think there's like a slide, a water slide that they just out my mouth. And when it comes out, who gives a shit? It's done, it's said, move on. After 7 years of not calling in, I even had a seizure in the bathroom. And they didn't find me for like 30, 40 minutes before. And every time I said something was not all right in the numbers, you could hear them talk. He's a veteran, he's not all there. And the veteran was not all there, so it was easier to pin all this money to the veteran that is new. That way, when they is, oh no, we started missing this money since he came in. The veteran, really? You're gonna blame the veteran, the U.S. Army veteran, that does nothing but solve all your problems. And that's the person you're blaming. The good employee. The whole big cloud of this clique. I noticed this clique because the one thing I didn't like about that job was that it felt like I was back in high school. In the sense of, how do we call it? If you didn't have fancy sport cars, or you played golf, or you played tennis, or you had a boat or a yacht or a sailboat, or if you played poker, or if you had a lot of money, or you're buying crypto, you will never be on that clique. If you are not into sports, you're not going to be in that clique. That clique was a miniature mafia within the casino. They control the schedules, they control who gets promoted, they control everything. But they couldn't control me to take the blame, I'll tell you that much. That's when I draw the line. And it's been 6 years. 6 years of me keeping my mouth shut. The reason I'm saying this now is because I'm about to move back to Vegas. Unfortunately, not by choice. I'm doing it because I just got shared custody of my son that I haven't seen for 7 years. Do the math. Everybody blame me. Everybody blamed me. I'm not a liar. I'm not a liar. You can call me whatever, you can call me lunatic. I'll take that because I lost memory and I still don't know who I am. But I do remember everything after that explosion. And in a very detailed way. Like I said, I see patterns. And not just with work and job or anything like that. I'm talking about life. Right now, there's a pattern that is happening in this world, and I'm not trying to scare you or anything, because there's nothing you and I can do about it. But there's a pattern right now. If you look at it, there's a pattern right now happening. And if it keeps going, it's going to change everything around us. It's going to even, well, it's already affecting nature. Let's just say that. That is very sad. But it's messed up that we put ourselves through all these jobs and work and bust our ass to one day retire, you know? They only see the job that you do for 8 hours. But these companies, these corporations, including the federal government, nobody sees the struggle, the sacrifices that you do every day at home, that you barely slept because you were cooking for your kids before you had to go to work, all the holidays that you're missing away from your family, and then the day that you have finally the time off to be with your family on holidays, possibly somebody already passed away. Surprise, surprise, you're never going to have that time back. It's just a job. It's just a job. For me, it was not just a job. It was the new life that I had after waking up from a coma and away from the military. So it meant a lot to me. Mind you, I went through all this at the same time that my fiance passed away, my first fiance, 2013. So I'm just retiring, starting a new job, working 1 day a week, and then my fiance died. I paid for a funeral. I sold all my rifles, all my guns, just to pay for a funeral. Just to get $14,000 to pay for a funeral. At that moment in my life, I didn't have the money. My currency was weapons. That is sad. That is sad. Now I'm 46 years old. I don't have much. I have a mobile home, which is a Jeep with a tent on top. That's my mobile home. It has a little stove on the back. Nothing fancy, not like the YouTube fancy overlanders. Not like, it's a little table that I put a propane. It has a little shower on the side and a tent on the top. And I have lived like that for 2.5 months. Right now, like I said, I'm blessed to be in this house. This is going to be the last couple months that I'm going to be here. Last couple months of having a studio. But sometimes you got to break everything down to start rebuilding. And what that job in corporate America did to me, and I say corporate America because they manipulated the system outside of the casino, the federal system, the one that could help me out through all this. It was manipulated. Do I want anything back? No, I just want my peace. I just wanted my peace. And now that I just finished this video, I think I found it.